A week has passed, which means you are listening to the Video Gamer UK podcast with me, Simon Miller, and today I am joined by Brett Phipps.
Hello.
David Scammell.
But it hasn't been a week, has it, Miller, really?
Don't break the illusion. When people are listening to this, like in their lives, on their magical technological devices, they just think a week has passed. They don't know it's actually Monday morning.
This happened to me on the radio once. I'm listening along, and it was great, and then suddenly they go, oh, don't phone in because this is pre-recorded. And I'm like, hang on, you have pulled the wool over my eyes.
Before we get back to this, Mr. Tom Ori.
Hello.
There we go. What radio station was it?
It was Radio 1.
They did a pre-recorded thing?
They did, yeah. It was a Sunday night job.
It's unbelievable.
Driving back from Guildford.
Was it Late Night Love? I don't do that on Radio 1, do they?
I wish it was, though,
Is that
Miller.
magic?
Do you remember? No, I used to listen to it on 97.6, which was a Luton station.
Wow.
What the hell was it
It's
called?
always Luton.
I can't remember what it's called.
Steve writes Sunday love songs.
I never listened to that.
That's the day
That's
to
what
do
I'm
it.
saying. That is magic, isn't it? Late night love songs.
Was that
That
on
is the
Magic?
day to do it. The day, late night love songs.
Put Late Night Love songs on, cozy up to your partner and get down
That's
and dirty.
it.
Yeah, that's what you
It's a Sunday to remember.
Well, as it is Monday, how was everybody's weekends? There we go. Usually we're so far into the week.
Well, I had
the
a great
weekend is so
Sunday,
irrelevant.
Miller.
I know you did. You're listening to Steve Wright and you're having a great
All
time.
by myself.
Well, yeah.
Late night love songs
Steve
on your own.
Exactly.
Got a candle on the go.
Steve Wright,
So
me.
your whole
Bit of
weekend
music.
was Steve Wright, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All weekend.
Well, you know.
Slow dancing on your
Did it
own.
make you happy?
Oh, very happy, Miller.
Tom, any Steve Wright on a Sunday?
I do. It is on in my house often. Yeah,
Is it really?
yeah.
Now you're going
Tom.
to think of Dave every time.
Oh, yeah. You both dancing.
You're cozying up.
He's
Suddenly the
ruined that
thought,
one.
my face pops into your head.
Well, in case you were wondering, we are recording this on a Monday, and yesterday, David Scammell listened to a lot of Steve Wright on Magic FM. Is he even on Magic FM anymore? I don't think he is.
No, I don't know.
I don't think he ever
He's
was.
Radio
He's on
2,
Radio
isn't he?
2, yeah.
I don't even know if he does Sunday love songs anymore.
Is
He
that-
used to.
Is that getting promoted
He
if you go
does.
from
Steve
Radio
writes
1?
Sunday love songs.
Is that still a thing?
Yes.
Wow.
What classifies as a love song?
It's whatever anyone chooses is a love
I'll
song.
tell you, I
so,
got an email. I got an email the other day. It was from Firebox. You know Firebox, like the gadget website?
Yeah, they spam people.
And it was like, find out what song you were conceived to. Find out what song your mum was listening to when you were conceived. I was like, I'd rather not. That's one of
Right.
those things that you don't know. Because
Yeah.
it's probably just like, I don't know, probably EastEnders or something.
But hang on. 1, how? 2, why? Because how do they work that out? And 2, why on earth would you want to know?
It's the wonder of technology, Brett.
Oh, really? They just go back, they've invented a time machine.
And on that note, we stop that conversation there and we turn our attentions to Mr. Brett Phipps. We ask you the question, Brett, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot
That's a
of
very
DMC.
slow response that
Yeah,
was. I wanted,
yeah.
I
Oh,
wanted
well, you
quick-
asked him how his weekend was.
I wanted
I was
quick
expecting
fire.
that
I asked
question.
how everybody's weekend was. That was a
Yeah.
global question. Now we're getting
It's a global
specific.
question.
And I'm asking you what you've been playing.
I played some DMC, the Definitive Edition.
Right?
That's
Tell me
really
about
good.
it.
It's still really, really good.
Why is it definitive? What have they done to make that? Definitive means this is the version, the
Yeah.
only version I ever need. I never need another one.
Nah, PC version, mate.
Why this one?
Well, you get the standard 1080p 60 frames upgrade, but they've also put in all the DLC that came out originally. They've introduced a new hardcore mode, which is doesn't change any of the difficulty of the enemies or the levels itself. It makes it a lot harder to get up in the style system.
Right.
To get up the rankings, you have to do a lot more flashier combos, use all the weapons in your arsenal, all that sort of stuff, which is really good when you go back and go through it. It helps you get better at the game. They've changed some of the item placement, so where the keys were, they've moved those around. They've swapped them with some of the hearts, some orbs and stuff like that. They've introduced harder difficulties, which I don't know why you got this hard enough as it is. Virgil's Downfall's in there, as I say, with the DLC. He's got his own bloody palace mode now, which is like the Horde mode, where you try and get through.
Of course it is. Every
Yeah.
game's got to have horde mode.
Basically, the way I see this game is that DMC was really good, and not many people played it.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those people, you should play this game.
But why is
you
this
really
going to
should.
make them play it?
Because it's 1080p,
And it's
60
25
frames a second.
But no one cared about that when it came out. Like, what, 2 years ago? 2 years old,
Yeah,
right?
2030. But it's 25 quid as well.
So $24.99.
It's a good price.
Yeah,
it's good price.
for
It's
what
good
you get.
remaster.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, people say, 1080p, 60 frames, that's what they want. But the best part about it, because when I was playing it, it felt really slow, even though it is 60 frames. And the turbo mode increases game speed by 20%. And that really makes a difference.
When
with
you say it
everything.
felt really slow, you're talking from past experience with Devil May Cry, right?
Yeah. Well,
See,
so then I felt...
It was no slower
then.
than. Did it feel slower than it did on?
No.
360?
But
It's
how
the same.
how I remember it, and then when you can increase the game speed by 20% in turbo mode, that makes a huge difference. Because when you're running between fights, you remember the original Devil May Cry. It looks like Dante runs in slow motion. The way he moves, it's like a Baywatch
Yeah.
run. And then when you're at the game speed, it makes a huge difference. It's really, really.
So, why are you
good.
saying that's more important than the whole 1080p
Yeah,
60 frames is the speed thing?
The ability to tweak the game. The better you can change hardcore mode, so it's a lot more challenging. The difficulty, the turbo mode, all that sort of stuff. It really makes a difference to cater the game to how you want to play.
Like for hardcore users looking to get stuck back in, that's probably something that they will go straight to.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas I'm when it comes to Devil May Cry, I'm more of a casual fan. Like the older Devil May Cries, I never really got on with them as much as everyone else.
I played the first one and then I kind of just gave up. Everyone says that Devil May Cry 2 is the best one.
No, 3.
That's the worst one.
2's the worst one.
2's terrible.
But yeah, I tried the first one. It was like, I think maybe it was the wrong time for me, I think, when that came out. I don't think... that sounds... You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I wasn't really into that type of game when that
yeah.
came out. And I tried 2 and it was shite. And then from then on, I kind of gave up with it. 3, I dabbled in a little bit, but still wasn't that fast. But DMC, I thought was really good. And everyone forgets about Devil May Cry 4. I mean, what was that game?
That was good.
Was it?
It was good.
I thought everyone liked Devil May Cry 4. I thought everyone spanked all over
Does
it.
anyone ever talk about
I
it?
think Devil May Cry 4 is like one of the most loved ones, isn't it?
Maybe.
By the
Who knows with that game? People get so finicky with that whole series. They're so confused and
The reason
convoluted.
why people got pissy about DMC was because they changed his hair. That was why everyone got
That's
pissy
what I mean.
about this
Yeah, that's
one.
why everyone gets upset about it. It's like, just don't worry about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but it's not a game I would necessarily have been craving for a remaster. I understand if you like the game, you do. If someone does stumble across this, like, are they going to... Say they played the first one for 5 minutes, and they think, you know what, maybe, like Dave said, maybe I didn't put enough time into it. Is there enough here... Not for someone that, spaffs all over Devil May Cry to get something out of it. It's a good remaster, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I think because it's not just an upscale in terms of it looks nicer. They've done a lot more than that.
Yeah.
They've tweaked it. They've gone in. They've listened to the feedback. They say the game feels a bit slow or it's not hard enough. They've done everything. They haven't said, right, we've made these changes. Here's how it is. They've gone. If you want to change it, you can turn this on. You can turn that on. You can change the difficulty here.
Yeah.
And it's not just. You can make the game harder.
Not just a lick of paint.
Yeah, but you can either make the game harder or you can make it harder for yourself to be better at it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So
I
right.
have no idea what that means.
So you can either change the game difficulty, which impacts the enemies,
Right.
or you can change the hardcore mode, which makes it harder to get the higher scores.
Right, okay.
Because you've got the style system, so it's harder to get the style system up. And if you get hit once in the hardcore mode, you lose your combo. So it's
Right.
really, really good in that regard. You can really tweak it to how you want as well.
Okay. And what about sort of the core game itself? I know it came out ages ago, but as it's coming back out, I mean, like you just said, it seems to be some kind of... No one really knows what the... I mean, everyone knows the third one. Definitely one of them was well received. That must be the third one. People aren't so sure on 4.
People love the third one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they do,
people
yeah.
aren't so sure on 4, and 2 was obviously panned. So how does it kind of fit into that kind of structure? Is it one of the better ones?
it's the best.
Is the best?
I think
best
critically DMC did very well,
Yeah, it's
but
the
I think
best
it
one.
always had this bit of flack because it was a Western studio that
Well, that's the thing. It's not
had
made by
changed
Yeah.
the style essentially of the character.
But
And
the control scheme is superb. The way they do it, you've got the basic weapons that he has, which is his rebellion, his sword, which you don't, and you just do that on the face buttons. And then you got his angel and demon weapons, which you just do hold R2 to use his demon weapons, same face buttons, angel weapon, hold L2. So switching back and forth between all the different items is so easy. And then eventually you unlock 2 weapons for each. So you got the 2 angel, 2 demon, and you just use the D-pad to switch back and forth. There's no going into the pause menu.
Sounds like a poor man's Dante's Inferno to me.
Oh, Dante's Inferno.
here we go.
That was a terrible video
That's
game.
like one of the best.
I quite enjoyed
It's
it,
a
to
good
be
game,
honest.
that is.
Well, are you serious? You actually
I
like
had 60 frames a second back then.
Yeah, but it's so bad.
I went back to it
Good.
not
I
that
only
long
played the
ago.
demo.
It's not so good anymore.
No, I
I'm
don't.
just trying to cause controversy here.
Yeah, but of all the games,
Brett's
that's-
done it already by saying this is the best Devil May Cry. Clearly, no one else agrees with that in the world.
Do they not? Is that not a wide opinion? I don't know. Devil May Cry to me may as well be the Russian language. I've
Well,
never
yeah,
really
I
embraced it on any level.
The one that I enjoyed the most out of the series is the first one because, like Dave said, it was the wrong time for me. It was the perfect time when I picked that. Me and all my friends were playing it non-stop. And then, like I said, 2 was toss. It was really bad. And then it just sort of fell away from the series. Came back, 4 was really, really good. And then this one, it just blew the rest of them out of the water, really. Especially when you go back and you play, because they did a HD collection of the originals on PS3, right? I'm not making that up. They did do it. Yeah, they did a
360
collection.
PS3 HD collection.
Yeah, they did. And then playing
This
those
is not
again.
the first Devil May Cry remaster.
No.
Of course, it's a Capcom game.
Yeah.
They love that shit. That's why it's got a turbo mode in it. The executive of
Yeah, why
Capcom...
did they call it Devil May Cry Super Turbo Edition?
Honestly,
Super Turbo.
They
yeah.
just sit around a table and go, do a turbo edition? Yeah, fuck
Super
it.
Turbo
It's like-
Full HD.
Yeah, that's just Capcom all over. That's their
Yeah.
one idea. It's like when the Poochies created in The Simpsons. They go, turbo edition? Yeah, turbo edition.
But
Even
yeah,
if it doesn't fit.
I think had this been a £40 game, I'd have said, but the fact it's 25, like, is in if you've played the original, then but it's £25 as well, which is really good.
I was tempted by it. I think the problem is that I didn't play it that long ago. I played it a few months after it first came out on 360 PS3. And whereas, I did the same with Tomb Raider. I bought the Definitive Edition on release, and
I really like Tomb Raider.
but I think that's because it was an early
And
new
Tomb
gen
Raider had
game.
a lot of visual upgrades, so it kind of showed it off a bit more.
But this does as well.
This doesn't look that much different.
doesn't look that much different.
It's 1080 and 60, but visually, like, it looks the same.
Yeah, it's a really
And
good
Tomb
looking
Raider,
game.
Tomb Raider didn't. Then.
Tomb Raider looked loads better.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't forget though, because
I know it had the hair.
Lots of it looked a lot better in Tomb Raider.
DMC had a lot going for it in terms of the color scheme they used. It was really vibrant. The level design's great. Like you had that level where in the nightclub, which was great. You had the where you had to kill the news reporter as the boss fight. Where you
Whoa!
I haven't played this game.
I don't think...
Spoiler.
If you're playing Devil May Cry for story, I think you've
but
lost your way.
You fight him, and it's like a rolling ticker tape news thing. It's so good. There's
Don't
so
need to
many
play it
great
now, do we?
levels.
It did have some great levels.
Oh, it's so good.
Right, one question before we move on from it as well. I'm genuinely serious because it did cause a big oomph. Does it really matter they changed his hair? Like, does it really matter? Is this just really a big deal? Did you, when you first sat down to play, or now revisiting it, did you sit there and go, I cannot possibly get into this game because this character's not the one that I remember?
I was annoyed by how annoyed people got.
Right, okay.
And also, the one thing that is frustrating is all the costumes, the alternate ones, give him white hair. Which sort of is frustrating because I'd love them to do everything other than white hair as the possible changes.
Multicoloured hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw you, world.
No hair, just bald.
I quite like the character. He's a total dick.
But he's meant to be.
Yeah,
He
he's
always was
great.
there, wasn't
Yeah.
he? He always was a dick. Like,
Yeah.
in the original ones, he was a bit of a dick as well. So
What I love is his progression in the story of this game because Virgil and him have a great relationship in this story. It is an interesting story in that regard. Like them two, it's really good.
when does it come out?
Oh, it's out tomorrow.
It's out today.
Well, what day are we today?
Today
Today
It's
is
out on
Tuesday for
Tuesday.
patrons, Wednesday for everybody
So
else, and
today's
we're recording it on a
already out.
Monday.
It's out.
Whenever you listen
Out
to
now.
it, it's out already.
It's out, yeah.
Is it better than Bayonetta 2?
Oh, God. Oh, I haven't played much Bayonetta. I've only played Bayonetta.
What about the first one? Better or worse? DMC or Bayonetta? You got to pick one right now on the spot on the Video Gamer podcast. You are choosing. Remember, Dead Air's terrible. No one
yeah,
likes
I
Dead
know,
Air.
I
So
know.
you are choosing
Oh, DMC.
DMC.
Ooh,
Right, there you go.
controversial.
We move on from that. Dave Scan, what have you been playing?
Been playing a little game about policemen.
Please tell me it's called Little Game : Policeman.
No, it's not.
Oh,
it's
it's a
called
shame.
LA Cops.
Well, you mentioned this morning. I've never heard of it. You seem very intrigued by the... Not intrigued.
Well, I have been intrigued by it. I've kind of always liked its art style. It's this weird, almost...
What's it out on?
Well, I played on Xbox One. It's
Right.
an Xbox One and
It's on
PC.
PC,
Okay.
It's almost a cell-shaded game, almost,
Is
of.
it set in like a different era or not?
Yeah, it's like 70s.
70s,
LA, I think. And it's a top-down game, or it's isometric at least. And it's a bit like Hotline Miami, but
Right.
nowhere near as good. It's like Hot Piss Miami.
Hot Piss Miami.
Yeah.
That'd be sad,
I was really disappointed in it. So I played it for a bit over the weekend, and by a bit, I mean I finished it within about an hour. And
Oh, wow. How much does it cost?
about 12 quid, I think.
Fucking hell.
Something like that.
I get people
Has
mad.
it got like a mechanic that makes you want to come back? Like, if you did like it, or is it just a story?
There's like a score-based thing, and you do it in higher difficulties, but I don't know why you really would. There's like side missions that you can do that aren't key to the story, but there's only 8 main missions, and each mission can be finished probably in about 6 or 7 minutes.
Right.
So it's not very long at all. But the idea of it is this isometric thing. You play as... there's a selection of cops to choose from, but each level you can take 2 cops into this, wherever you're storming into, and you have to kill all of the bad dudes that are in there. Sometimes you have
classic
to
game.
save whoever's been taken hostage or whatever. You can either kill them or arrest them. Doesn't really matter. But one of the key mechanics, I thought, and the way that it sets it up in the tutorial, was the idea that it's more of a strategy game in the sense that you maybe have to position one cop on one door and another cop on another door, and then order the other one in to the room as you storm it at the same time.
SWAT.
Like a SWAT, like a Rainbow
SWAT
Six
was
type
good. Do you remember
game.
SWAT? SWAT was a really good game.
That's
Back
the
in
way
the
it kind
day.
of sets it out. It sets it out as a key mechanic. That's how to win this game. It's not like that at all. You just basically, the way that I played the whole game is I left one cop at the beginning of the level. I sent the other cop in to kill everyone. If that cop died, I just tried again with the other one as a second life. Like,
There's no permadeath in this. Then you just try again.
No,
So it doesn't really kind of, you get introduced to the mechanic and then it quickly throws the mechanic out the window. I would guess
It doesn't use it at all.
So point and shoot it comes down to classic.
Yeah, and the problem is that the. I mean, I would have used it more, but the AI seems so shite that it's just standing
There's
there.
no point. Oh, yeah.
It's like it runs into the room and it might start shooting someone, but it'll get shot by someone else. So it really doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
And it's just easier. And it kind of, like Hotline Miami, there was a certain sense of skill to Hotline Miami, and I didn't get that from this at all.
It's hard as well, Hotline Miami, isn't it? Like, and some of the later levels are genuinely quite challenging, from what I can remember.
It's similar in the sense that you run in the room. If you fail, you can quickly restart and things like that. But basically, I just ran in and you hit X to lock on and then right trigger to shoot. So literally just tapping XRT, XRT, XRT constantly.
Auto aim.
Yeah. So yeah, you're literally just tapping between the two buttons and there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why did you play it? Because it's not like I haven't seen much like coverage for it or marketing or anything like that.
Well, it's not out yet. It's out this week.
Right. So
I think it's probably similar to Devil May Cry.
Oh, right.
Tuesday release, I think.
Okay, but what was it that you thought, you know what?
Well, me and Jim were going to... Because Jim's playing the PC version, and he wanted
Right.
me to try the Xbox version as well. So we were going to talk about it together.
Do you know
But
what Jim thinks or not?
he doesn't like it either.
Is this Team 17?
It is,
'Cause
yeah.
they-
Oh, it is the Worms guys.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it's,
well,
but
that
it's
changed
an
that.
indie one that they're
Yeah.
publishing.
'Cause they put
essentially.
out that Escapist thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Escapist,
Yes,
which
yeah.
kind of thought wasn't going to be good, and then it kind of was quite good. And this is just not that good.
They did The Escapist.
Yeah.
Well, they're,
Oh,
no,
alright.
they're setting up like a publishing thing where they
Is it because they just can't possibly put out any more Worms games? So they run the idea
It's
into
like a
the
worm
ground.
sabbatical, yeah.
The other thing about this game is that I don't know if this is a bug or a feature. It's really weird. So there are certain missions, so that they're almost like multi-tiered stages where you have to clear a room or a series of rooms, go into an elevator and go upstairs, and then you're in the next area. You have to do the same again. But there are certain levels where you have to reach a certain point within a certain amount of time. So, I don't know, say you've got 3 minutes to clear all of these bad guys and then get to the hostage at the end of the room. Now, you can fail the mission, but it puts you back in that area with everyone dead and the same amount of time remaining. So you
So
can
just walk
rush,
through
you can
it?
just race straight through it.
What was that bit in Call of Duty 4 that was really hard in the television studio? Do you remember that? And it was so hard. Imagine they just did that, just killed all the guys.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
There's
That's
no penalty for it, other than you're put back at that area and you have to get there within the time limit.
So
But-
everyone
no
you
obstacle.
kill- Yeah.
yeah, so it's weird. It's like, well, you might as well just rush in and blast everyone. It doesn't matter if you fail. Like, just do it
Do you
again.
mean like the airplane bit in Modern Warfare? Do you mean
Oh,
that
no,
bit?
no, not that bit, not the end.
Oh.
But it would be the same
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Imagine you
Everyone's
doing a
dead.
speed run of that and
Yeah.
it's fucking ridiculous.
But,
But that's bizarre. That's absolutely bizarre.
It's like an RPG elements to it. You can level up your character and get more health and new weapons and things like that. It's like, as soon as you get the assault rifle, which I got on like mission 2, which is the strongest weapon in the game, it was just piss. Like, just run through it and just kill everyone with this
An
assault
LA
rifle.
cop running around with an assault rifle.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Like a
knocking
grenade-
people out.
Well, the grenade launcher is supposed to be the yeah, that's the strongest weapon. But
Cop with a grenade launcher.
whereas with the assault rifle, it's literally tap dead. The grenade launcher, you have to fire the grenade and then it goes off.
Oh,
and it
the
hits it.
arc,
So, like,
yeah.
by the point it reaches, you're already dead because
Yeah.
they've shot you. So
Yeah.
there's absolutely no point using
This
it.
sounds bizarre.
Yeah.
This sounds like a game that we made, and then we've missed out all
It
these
is.
ideas.
Jim said, because he's texting me while I was playing it as well, and he's
Yeah.
like, it feels like a 48-hour game jam game. That
Yeah,
someone's
yeah.
just, and like it feels really low budget, like the fonts and the tech and all that. And like the cutscenes are so bad that I skip them. Like, one of the cutscenes, because there's one female cop in it, and one of the cutscenes is you joining the force as this woman, and the sergeant saying, "Do you know how much bathrooms cost on our budget? And now we've got to get a second bathroom because
right.
they've employed a woman." Essentially, it's like, what? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Oh, so in the 70s, she's the first. Yeah, she's the first one. So you're trying to.
But it's things like that. Oh, I can't bother. Skip
Yeah,
this. This is
exactly.
crap.
Well, I mean, you can get away with that in some games. Because Mirror's Edge, I skipped every cutscene. I thought the story was terrible. The voice acting was even worse. And it was just an embarrassment. But the game itself, I adored.
Yeah.
Because I don't care, I'll just ignore it. But it just sounds like everything to do with this is just bad.
It's sad because I was intrigued by it. I got that Hotline Miami vibe to a degree. It's not exactly the same. It's not totally top down.
Do you think that's why Team 17? Do you actually think this is more of it's a bit like Hotline Miami, we can probably do well off of it, rather than they played it and went, this is the seal of quality we're looking for?
Only on Xbox and PC, but Xbox isn't getting Hotline Miami, is it? 2, which is out this week.
Yeah, maybe that.
They're both out this week. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So we could be looking at a stage where, you can play our shit version and give us all the money. But £12, how much is Hotline Miami?
I don't know if it's exactly £12. It might be cheaper than that. I don't know. But,
okay. For a 1 hour game, that is. Do you think, can you see, is there leaderboards and shit like that per level so people could try and get the whole score attack thing going?
I think there are, but I certainly, like Hotline Miami, I would go back and replay levels, and I'm not sure I would in this one at all, because they all feel the same, and there's nothing really to them until, shoot the server. Oh, great. Thank you.
That's just bizarre. But I didn't even realise Team 17 were doing this. I didn't know they were on their publishing jaunt to find weird... Because like you say, The Escapist, I've only seen you two playing it. That's my only access to it. But that actually looked quite...
You was there.
Huh?
A lot of you
was there. A lot of me was there, yeah. But I actually thought it looked quite entertaining and quite sort of silly, really, in a good way. But this just sounds bad.
It looks quite cool, but it's not a good game.
Right.
So.
Well, there you go.
Would it have been better with worms in it?
I'm not sure.
There'd be an unlockable somewhere. Yeah. It's fucking Team 17. They can't help
I was
themselves.
watching the credits, and it's got thanks to Sega and thanks to Yuki and things like that. It's like, what?
What did Sega do?
I don't know.
Yeah. Sega got the
What did Sega do?
Maybe that's why they got problems. Got their finger on all these stupid pies.
LA Cops Rise of Lyric or something.
But yeah, I would not bother with this game myself. So.
David Scammell speaks. You playing anything else? Anything else on your list of things?
I played the first episode of Revelations 2.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah.
Which Steve Burns said was okay.
Well, that's it, really. It is okay. And you don't like it, do you, Brett?
No, I can't stand it.
Why not?
It's so clunky. And yeah, I keep saying it's budget, and it is budget, but when you're playing it and it's just so horrible to control...
It doesn't feel any different to any other Resi, though.
Well, it's just that thing of... It's tank controls, but it just feels wrong, and I can't put my finger on it because I need to play more of it.
Tank controls?
Can you move and shoot?
In terms of the way she turns...
Can you move and shoot? Because that was always the epitome of tank controls. That when you got your...
No, it's not. It's just the way she... It's so sluggish in the way it controls.
Isn't Resi always? That's the thing. I haven't played Resi 6.
Well,
it shouldn't, because
every other Resi
it's
game.
over the shoulder, and it's just... Because you can switch back and forth between the characters. There's two at any one time, and they have their own skill set, really. And the second character I've got at the minute, she's got a torch, which can shine and bring light to certain objects in the environment.
Do what a torch does. Yeah, I'm with you. I know what a torch does.
But there's the enemy. The enemies in the...
Look at his eyes! I really just say that to me.
But he's explaining torches. This thing's got a torch, right? Push a button, it shines a light, yeah? And you can do that to see things in the dark.
If you can't see, yeah.
What does the gun do?
Well, if you point it, and yeah. But the enemies are coming, and they're the fast ones. They're not slow-moving zombies. So if you're constantly trying to save her, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm bored.
I thought that was Resident Evil. I thought that was always Resident Evil, was that you had to be kind of really accurate because it had... Because that was the whole thing when, whichever game it did, you could then move and shoot. I was like, you've ruined it. You've ruined it. So I thought that was the point, that they have to be slow and... I don't know. I've never been a big Resident Evil guy, so...
It does feel a bit like a budget Resi. But when you think, each episode is £5, you can kind of understand it. But when when they want to release the disc at £30, then you might start thinking...
You can buy the whole thing for 20, though, can't you?
You can, but the disc is more expensive for some reason.
Because it comes with some extra little bit. It's that thing as well, where suddenly you've got two people, and every ladder you need two people to reach it. So
I love
shoe-on co-op, so fuck off.
Because you do the first... I don't know what you want to call it, the first chapter of the first episode.
Right,
and then you move on to the second chapter of the first episode where you play as Barry and the little girl, the mysterious little girl that's on this island. And her mechanic is just to point. It's like you're walking around going, over there, over there. Great.
Right. As we're talking about it now, we're going to bring the questions early just because not all of them, just one, because it was one. Connor Wood asked... Do you think the success of Resident Evil Remaster and the great story from Revelations 2 will help the series return to form?
Great story.
Well, this is the thing. Does it have a great... I haven't heard anything about a great story in Revelations 2. And Brett, you seem completely against
that. To be fair, I think it's a little too early for me to make such strong... I need to play it a bit more when I find time. But in terms of the remaster, like you say, it is a Capcom thing. They just remake what they've had before. So I don't know about it coming to prominence. It will all rest on 7 being a lot better than 6.
If we get a 7. Maybe
some people
they have
love
to be making
6.
a 7.
Some people think 6 is the best one.
Really?
Who are
they're
these
wrong.
people?
People that don't like it are playing it wrong. Like you go on NearGaff, and there's bound to be a thread. Like every month, someone will go, "I just started playing Resident Evil 6. It's brilliant," and everyone jumps in saying, "Yeah, it's amazing. All this stuff you can do."
Is it really everyone on NearGaff, or is this one thread?
Yeah, I was saying one thread that
I
six
think-
people
I think-
right over
I
and
think
over
6 is
again.
garbage. But
Yeah.
My girlfriend quite likes 6.
But
Really?
why? What does she like about
I
it?
don't know. I
'Cause I-
honestly do not know.
To me, it just looks like...
I think she just loves
A
how
mess.
she... But then she played Raccoon City and was like, "Oh, Dave, let's play Raccoon
Oh my
City
gosh,
together."
Raccoon
Oh, that was
City, I
so
forgot about that
bad.
That's a
game.
game you could finish in about 3 hours as well.
I remember chatting to... Who made that? What was the development studio called?
It was the guys who did
Slant
SOCOM.
6.
That's right, it was a Somcom. But they did something else as well, didn't they? I swear they did something else.
Cool Borders.
Did they do Cool Borders? Right.
Possibly.
But I remember talking to the guy. I went to an event. I remember talking to him. I can see in his eyes. You can just see when he's talking about it. It's like, look, you know it's going to be bad. I know it's going to be bad. They're not giving us any help. They're not giving us any support. And it's just like, man, this game is going to be atrocious.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, how quickly did that die?
Oh,
it was the
terrible.
most faceless... Considering it had the Resident Evil license and franchise, which is this big deal, and you got so much story, it was so boring.
But that's happened before. Like, do you
Devoid of
remember
character.
Resident Evil Survivor? Was it Survivor on the PS1?
remember
Is that the
that.
light,
light gun game?
Yeah. Survivor.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Came out
remember that
title
at all.
dead. Title dead.
But it was made by Capcom.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Completely gone. Okay, so what about Revelations 2 story then? Because you were going to weigh in, and you seem surprised that
Well, I haven't
somebody
seen
would...
much of a story yet, other than what's her name, Claire Redfield and friend Moira get abducted and sent to a weird prison on a weird island. That's about it, and they have to escape.
Because the weird thing I find about that is the original Revelations didn't really have that much of a story. I mean, it did.
I didn't
It kind
play
of,
the
well,
original
it
Revelations.
kind of had a thread, but I wouldn't call it...
There is a bit of a twist when Barry's bit comes along, but I don't want to say what it is. That kind of, I haven't seen how interesting that could make it.
Yeah.
But it is potentially, that could be quite interesting.
Okay.
It's just, I think it's going to rely a lot on the later episodes really to sort of flesh it out a little bit. But
right now...
and what
He's
you
in the-
see of the teaser for episode 2, and I've got episode 2 waiting to play, and it's like, oh, the helicopter coming down, exploding. It's like, oh, right, yeah, this is going to be crap.
How long did it take? How long was each episode? You've only played one.
It took
but
about an
how-
hour and a half to the first episode.
All right, so that's kind of a good
That's
length.
not bad for a
that kind of
fiver.
stuff.
I don't know. Probably going to get shite now, aren't I? Oh, but you said the order was crap. 4 hours, 50 quid.
That's different though, isn't it? It's different because you put £50 down on something, you're going to notice that,
It's
whereas
weird
a fiver,
'cause
you can kind of... It's a sandwich.
It's like Capcom's first venture into episodic stuff, I guess. And
How often are they coming out? What was the
Weekly.
gap?
every week.
At least they're doing it right. The only
that-
damn people doing it.
Exactly. That's how all episodic games should
Yeah.
be. And Capcom are getting it absolutely right.
Yeah, they should make the game and then release it.
Exactly.
That's what they do with
Exactly.
TV, so you're allowed to do it with games as well. It's
Yeah.
fine. People
Yeah.
go, "Oh, that's not episodic, it's already made."
Yeah.
I
Of course
hate
it
the
is.
Telltale "it's when it's done" thing where you complete episode 2 and they go, "When's episode 3?"
It's
whenever.
awful.
They got like
It's
20
not
projects
episodic
on the go.
games. It's
You
being
lose your
lazy.
interest in it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
And it puts you off buying the thing.
Yeah.
And also, you want to go, let's say Game of Thrones comes out every Friday, like the TV show. You want to say, "Hey, Dave, you're going to be playing Game of Thrones this Friday. I'm going to. Let's have a chat when it's done." Like people do with TV or all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And the thing about Telltale now, they found themselves in the position where everyone knows that's what's going to happen. We don't know when this game's going to come out. And everyone also knows that when they all do come out, they're all going to be half price. So why not wait?
Yeah.
What's the point of them being episodic?
Well,
Just buy it when it's cheap and they're all together.
That's why season 2 of The Walking Dead, I think, fell flat on its arse. If they come out and said, "Look, season 2 comes out 1st of Jan, runs to middle of Feb," I probably thought, okay, I'll stick with it for 6 weeks. But if you're going to fuck around with it, I already felt like I had a great resolution by the first Walking Dead. Why do I
Yeah.
need to jump back into the second one?
This is the thing with Tales from the Borderlands. I think is the newer second
It's
episode's
out
out this
next
week or
week.
next
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
One or the other.
When did the first one come out?
Ages ago.
Yeah.
now.
Before
I
Christmas?
think
or not?
so, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was. Definitely before Christmas.
And I quite liked it, but there's probably no
remember.
way that I'm going to buy this one next week. I'll
'cause
wait
you-
until they're all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Can you remember as well, like all the micro
To a
decisions
degree.
as well?
Well, that's why they did it previously on
Yeah.
this game by Telltale. It's nonsense. I think it's really bad. I think for a company that prides itself on, not prides itself, but its whole business model is on episodic content.
Yeah.
And you've got Capcom that come out and go, "There you go, done." Telltale should be ashamed of themselves.
I hope the Lionsgate deal sort of tightens that up a little bit.
Yeah.
They'll,
Gives it some
they'll bring in
structure.
that sort of, yeah, exactly.
It's weird that,
So-
like you say, the game isn't done before they start releasing the episodes as well. Because surely the story's done as well, and it's just about making the
It's all
game.
storyboards, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
It's all kind of penciled out, but because it's not. I also have a funny feeling. I don't know this. It's because they take too much stuff on.
Yeah.
Just like right,
Yeah.
we'll work on Game of Thrones now, but then we have to get Borderlands, and we got whatever else we're doing. They just do a game like every quarter. They should pick one of their licenses and go, "There's your episodic." The next quarter, there's your episodic. But they don't. Like, why on earth do we
Hard
have
to
two?
resist money, though, isn't it?
I get it, but right now we have Tales of the Borderlands and Game of Thrones running concurrently with another. That's insane. Like, what are they doing? Just give me because I may want to play both of them, but the Telltale way of doing games, you're always going to eventually. What's the word I'm looking for? But it's going to water down, isn't it? You think, I don't want to play that just with a different license. So give me a break, and then I'll be more interested in what you do next.
It's like watching, flipping between episodes of House of Cards and Game of Thrones. Though every week, you want to say focus on
Bethesda.
one.
It's like Bethesda. The reason I think there has to be huge gaps between Fallout and Elder Scrolls is because they're essentially the same game. They're just set in a different environment. If I had both to play at the same time, but I can only pick one because I'm doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Telltale.
I've never really understood the entire episodic model. People love binging. And I think House of Cards and things like that has proved that people love binging.
Yeah.
And
the episodic model kind of came out before binging was really a thing, didn't it?
It did, but it hasn't evolved as binging has.
No one's got it right.
Now TV is just watching it all as quickly as you possibly can on Netflix, whatever. But then games are still stuck. Apart from the Resident Evil thing's the only thing that's come close, I suppose. But games are still like the old TV model rather than the new TV model.
Imagine if all of Walking Dead Season 2 had come out day one. They released them. You could buy them episode by episode.
Like Netflix, right, yeah.
Or you could buy the whole season.
Yeah.
How many copies would they have sold day
More.
one? I'm less likely to buy all of Walking Dead Season 2 now. I have got it already, let me caveat that. But let's say that I hadn't. I would be less likely to buy it now than I would have been at launch had they all been there. Because it would feel like it's old news, essentially. And you'd like to be there for the ride, wouldn't you?
Tom's right. That's what Netflix does so well. It's like, here's a show you like. There you go. It's all of it. So you can create your own episodes if you want. I'm going to watch House of Cards once every Saturday.
Nashville.
Or Nashville, or whatever you'd like to choose. There you go.
It's why you fall away from so many TV shows as well. When you think every week, you think, I just keep forgetting, I just can't be asked anymore. You forget if there's no on-demand version of it, then you just don't watch it.
And some people just don't even release the third episode of their game and turn the internet into crazy people. But it is bad. Yeah, exactly. Spot on, Dave. People still waiting for that episode.
3.
That is what I was referring to, yes.
All right.
But I think now, given what Netflix has done, maybe it would be best if a company like Telltale changes their model. They're not doing it anyway. They're just taking their time to release games now. Yeah. We can all do that. Oh, well, never mind. Tom, what have you been playing? Hit me up with some cool shit.
White Knight.
Okay. Is it a game about Batman's antithesis?
No, it's night with an N.
Oh, okay.
So it is set at night, and it's black and white.
Okay, what do I do with White Knight? Someone was talking about White Knight the other day. I don't know who it was. Maybe it was you.
I reviewed it on the website.
What goes down?
So it's kind of like, it is a survival horror kind of mixed with old school, kind of survival horror mixed with something like Grim Fandango kind of style of play.
Right.
What?
So whoa. You wander around from that kind of viewpoint.
Yeah. So Grim Fandango viewpoint. It's kind of weird kind of angular.
Does it have Manny Cavallero in it?
No. It's kind of like, because that was like a modern point and click, wasn't it, at the time? Like it was.
Imagine if it did that.
So it's like that, but it's scary. Like there are.
How scary?
Yeah, well,
could Dave and I play it?
There are bits that are quite scary, but also the scary bits are like the worst parts because of other reasons. But so you're a guy who kind of is driving along. It's all black and white all the way through. It's night time. There's someone in the road. You swerve, crash. Ooh, it was a ghost or something.
Good sell job, Tom.
You're injured, and then you wander into this like house that's nearby because you're injured and you want help. And then that kind of unfolds to be some big haunted house type thing.
Right.
So the problem with it is that it's very stylish, and at times it is quite unnerving. But you come across. Sorry, we had an incident with Bernard.
Someone just shouted in the office that they've been attacked.
So you come across these ghosts, or they're all women, I think, and they kind of like roam around, and you can't see them until you're like close to them usually, and it's usually quite dark, and they often like appear kind of like you just open a door and there's one there, and then if they touch you, that's it, you're done. And you have to go back to your last save. And
can you kill them?
No. Well,
you have to run away from them.
Yes, but you can't do it with like a weapon. They basically get you can kill them, whatever you do to a ghost, by shining electric light on them. It has to be electric light. So because you carry
electric light.
Yeah,
is that the name of an album?
You carry like a matchbox. You always have if you have enough of them,
you have non-electric.
You wander
light.
around with this like match light.
You sure you're not playing Luigi's Mansion?
It does sound like it, doesn't it?
So the match light is enough to
you got a vacuum.
You can see the area, but often there's something like that doesn't take out a ghost, but you can see the ghost and then run away from it, hopefully.
Right, so if you open the door and one's there, you can just leg it.
You can leg it,
okay, fine.
but then if you see it, you kind of get this kind of like, you're so shocked by seeing it that you can't run properly, and he's like staggering all over the place. So,
I thought he meant you.
You're
so you put the control down and run.
So like running away is awkward, but then often there might be another one just around. So you run straight into that one, and it's like you go mad and it's game over.
So where do you get the electric light from?
Well, from light switches.
Oh, so you have to turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it's classic, like
a gun.
The classic, like that light switch doesn't work. You've got to find the generator, or that light switch is hidden. Like I was on one bit for God knows how long, like probably a couple of hours. I was stuck because there's this corridor that had a couple of ghosts on it. And I knew there was something in this. I had to do something because there was a door at one end I couldn't get to because there was a ghost in front of it or something. And I wandered around for ages. I knew I couldn't do anything. It was like mission or chapter 2. There's 6 chapters, so it was quite early on, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't figure out what to do. And then I just went around, classic, hug every wall for like the entire lower floor that I could see, and eventually I just found a light switch, turned it on.
I'm not going to lie, this sounds shite.
This sounds terrible. What did you give it for VideoGamer.com?
Well, the thing is,
a 6.
it's
quite
actually
high.
when it's not being
Quite high.
It is. Look, I'm bringing the review score back. 6 is above average. That is high. Don't you be that guy.
No, but you haven't played
I will
it.
come over there and smack you up.
I scored Wolfenstein quite highly.
I did. We're getting to Wolfenstein later. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you worry.
But it's not, when it works and it's not being really annoying, it's good. Like it has a really good, like it is unnerving. And when you come across, the ghosts are very well designed. They look scary, and when they kind of appear, it is kind of like a bit panicking. But then you always come across these bits where you think, oh, this puzzle is just annoying. There's another bit with like these planets you have to align, and I may have missed something, but I just.
Steve writes Sunday love songs.
Tied back in. Thanks for listening.
So I just pressed the button numerous times until the planets were like where they needed to, and it clicked open. But it's so much like the save system is like, it's sort of like Resident Evil. So you sit in an armchair. It has to be a certain armchair, and then it saves. But you can only sit in the armchair and save if there's a light on it. And you can only light the light, there's always a candle next to the chair, if you've got some matches. You always usually have matches, but sometimes you run out. So you're running around an area and like you have no matches. And if it goes dark for long enough, you go mad and it's game over again. But because of the way that you can instant die by walking into a ghost, you always want to try and get to a save point so that you don't waste all the time you've been.
This sounds atrocious.
So it's so almost a really good game. Like
almost trying really hard.
They needed to make it so that it wasn't like there was a more chance to get away from the ghost, because you can do it, but so often you kind of run into one while you're trying to run away from another one, or you just stumble across one because they don't always stay in the same place. They often wander about. So if you open a door into a corridor and one happens to be on its patrol on that corridor and it's just there as you go in, that's it. You're done. You just walk straight into it. And then you kind of, that's it, game over, back to wherever you were half an hour ago. So you end up backtracking to try and say you get like a key.
We're all shaking our heads.
Yeah, it sounds awful.
You get a key, then you kind of think, I know what that opens, but if I try and do that now, I'll probably die and have to get that key again. So you try and go back to the last save point, which point you might die doing that anyway. So it's just a bit, flow of it is terrible.
What's the goal? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, there's this woman in it, and she appears as like a ghost, but she's not the same kind of ghost.
Oh, right.
She's a singer, club singer.
Singer ghost. Yeah.
Club singer.
So you
club
put on
ghost.
often,
Classic,
there's these
ghost.
records you find. You can put them on like is it a gramophone?
Yeah.
And that plays, and then she appears, and the light from her.
So you want a free show from a club singer?
Late night club classic.
Like she has this light coming from her that can destroy the ghost as well. So at points you can kind of follow her around, and then it keeps you safe if you're in her light. And it's kind of it's very close to being good, but it's just there's too many bits that are really annoying.
When I was watching you play it the other day, briefly, all I could think of whenever I saw the main character was Professor Layton. It's very Layton.
I've never seen this game.
Yeah.
And that is what I was picturing in my head for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like a scary Professor Layton game.
Can you put a top hat on him?
Well,
Do you have a child sidekick, and do you often make awful innuendos that should never be made?
Yeah, that is the worst.
Innuendos?
Yeah, have you not played?
You're not played Professor
It's so bad.
Sometimes they say things in that game. I'm like, this is terrible.
What?
This is rotten.
Yes,
it's absolutely rotten.
What, as in Filth Corner?
Yes.
Yeah.
As
Really?
in, what? Yeah. Bad.
Also-
really bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
I don't
I'm
know
intrigued now.
If the developers of White Knight are listening, can you please make a sequel and call it White Knight 2 Electric Boogaloo? Because that's what this just sounds like. You kill him with electric light. There's a singer.
White Knight 2 Electric Boogaloo.
What is wrong with you, Brett
Electric
Phipps?
light, and that's where it needs to be.
Talking of music, I briefly played a bit of Ollie Ollie 2, and that has an amazing soundtrack.
Does it
I
really?
want to talk about
I'm
Early
looking forward
too.
to that.
I don't want to ruin
No,
Tom
no,
Ray always
go
says
on.
about White Knight.
I was going to say. What was I going to say? It was something interesting about White Knight, and then he said something about Electric Boogaloo.
I ruined it for you. No, okay.
It's a game with a lot of atmosphere, and I mean, you may, if you play it, you may not have a problem if you're like somehow are really good. Like,
Is it going to scare me though?
Yes.
This is what I'm
There you go.
wondering.
So I shouldn't
There's-
diss it.
there's
'cause
some
it was
bits-
is it
scared the
jump
shit
scares?
out of
There's some
me.
bits that are really because there's as you go through, the amount of like ghosts in rooms increases. So there's a bit when you get into like the attic, and there's a room with at least 3 or 4 ghosts in it, and some of them are like ones that crawl across the floor, and some of them like glide around. And if one of them, it becomes almost like a stealth game. So you're moving slowly, and if you spot a ghost, you kind of have to veer away from it and go around to get to like something on the other side of the room. And it is quite intense when you're playing it, because you know if you just edge slightly too close to one, it will come at you, and it is quite scary. But then for that moment it's good, and you think, oh, I've got to do that again now.
Yeah, because you die.
PS Plus? PS Plus?
Maybe. I mean,
It's just PS4 at the moment.
it's on it's on PC.
Oh,
Xbox
okay,
One.
right.
I think it's like £12 to £15, not sure exactly. And if somehow you play it and you can get through these issues and you don't have the same problems, you probably really like it. But if you kind of, for example, struggle to find the light switch, so basically if you're playing it and you're stuck, look for light switches or look for a way to turn on a light, because that's basically the whole thing.
All right. Well, there you go. That's White Knight.
I'm intrigued
Out
by
on
it. I am
everything.
intrigued. But
if it's just going to scare me, I don't want to play
Yeah,
it. I
this
don't
is
want
the
to play
problem.
it. That sounds. I'm not going to play it. I just have to
surely
decide.
there's a point. You're playing your game and you think, actually, you know what, that is quite frustrating for that to happen.
This is a
Maybe-
mistake.
maybe
game
we should
developer.
change that.
I did think, where was the testing? Like, I don't make games. Like, this is a big thing. We comment on things, we don't actually make them. But at the same time, I'm playing and I'm thinking,
You're still a connoisseur. You still know what you like and what you don't like.
If they'd got, maybe they did, but if they'd got me in, for example, I can't because it's crossing the ethical, moral barriers of
No, it's not.
journalism.
I'll come in, developers. I'll play games.
If they just shown it to more people,
The look on your face.
like it could have been, this stuff could have been like worked out, I think, quite easily. Like it just needed, I don't know who play tested it. I can't imagine all these people were like, yeah, brilliant. Don't bother changing a thing. Who knows what the deal was? Maybe they had to get it out at a certain time.
Some people they get very stubborn with their artistic vision. They think they know best. Sometimes those people are wrong, but who knows? But Dave, you did mention Ollie Ollie 2. I want to do Miller's PS Plus Minix. That's all I'm playing now. That's what
yeah.
be longer than a minute for the record.
I played this as well.
Because I played Ollie Ollie 2. And
I haven't played very much.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
But I played the first one, and I didn't really get the first one because I thought the controls weren't satisfying enough, or they weren't intuitive enough to enjoy that game. Because those kind of games is when you just...
Don't you just flick the stick?
Yes, but there are other things too. Basically, I have the same problem with it now. I'm always finding like I'm detaching my brain from my hands. I try and remember what does what. It doesn't feel fluid to me.
It's quite difficult to tap X, to remember to tap X every time you land.
It's everything. Everything to me. It doesn't feel like... With that kind of game, to me, the control scheme needs to be perfect. And that's what kind of keeps you back. Because I always feel like I'm focusing on the controls rather than what I'm trying to do with the controls.
That's true, yeah.
And it's a problem I had with the first one. Everyone, you don't know what you're talking about. It's probably true. Still don't like it. And it's the problem I have with this one as well. I'm never enjoying it because I'm always trying to think like, what do I do? Okay, I do that because it's just not. I never become comfortable with it.
I guess the argument is that the people that play it a lot and get really good,
They just get used to it.
they could just do it because they're like.
Yes, but I played the first one for about 6-7 hours.
Did
never
you?
Never got there. And I played this one for about 40 minutes. I feel the same. That's why I stopped playing. I've done this before.
Must be shit, man. I'd play for 7 hours and not get used
Do you want
to
to
it.
go right now? I'll fight you on the podcast. And then it'd be 3-man team because you'll die. That's right. Smack my mic down.
The mic's already taken it.
But yeah, I'm not... I wasn't really listening to the soundtrack. Is it a good soundtrack?
Oh, it's good. It's so
He's
good.
too busy looking at his controls.
I've put one of the tracks on my Spotify.
Really?
That
Which
good.
one?
What was it?
You don't remember what
Would
it's
you like me
called,
to
do
play it right now?
You can do if you
Are we
want.
allowed? Can
Do you
get
like
away
it
with that?
Because I think, Tom, you don't like it.
I can see why.
I get the same at the moment. I mean, I've played it for a lot. I didn't play the first one at all. I played this one for like 20 minutes. Like I've done the tutorial and like stage 1 or something. It feels like Dave said, like particularly the landing thing. Like there was a bit. As soon as I got past the tutorial, I had to do things together. I was like, my hands were all over the place trying to figure out what I was doing. That probably makes us sound really bad at games.
So what?
But it is. I think there is quite a big learning curve to get into it.
Everyone seems to love it though. Critically, it seems to have gone down really well.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, I think this happens a lot in the industry in general, but I think the sort of people that have reviewed that game are the sort of people that are going to love that type of game. And it's just not, I don't think it's for everyone.
No, I don't. It's just, I can't think
But the review scores, when something gets that high review scores, you kind of would think...
My mic keeps breaking.
You'd maybe expect it to be, accessible to
I think
the majority.
A good comparison is Velocity 2, which is the new one,
2X.
Yeah, 2X.
Which that is if you want to play it and really hardcore get into it, it has that level of depth to it. But at the same time, I'm not into those kind of games, but still could play it and enjoy it. So it was like a shmup, but very accessible to people that weren't into shmups. Whereas this is like... It feels like unless you're really, really hardcore into it, you're going to get very little out of it because it feels really fiddly to try and get the hang of initially.
And I think that is the type of game that needs to feel satisfying very quickly.
Yeah.
Because if you're not into those type of games, you're going to be put
Tony
off
Hawk,
by it.
I was about to say, it's why I never got
when
into
you land
Skate.
a trick,
It felt awesome.
that's it.
Yeah.
I never
Whereas this,
felt
I
like-
don't get that feeling with it.
Did you like
No,
Skate?
never.
though?
I never get it either.
Did you guys like Skate? Because I
Like
never
the
got
first
into it.
Skates.
Because again, it was that thing of on the stick, whereas Tony Hawk, you just jump and press a button and a direction. That was it.
I think the first Skate had it a little bit. I think they were certainly onto something. But I never... Because I've now put about 8 hours into Ollie Ollie, the franchise in general. Never once have I landed something and gone, oh, that made me feel really good.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I just fluked my way to victory. I think unless that game, like you say, with Tony Hawk, where you feel great when you finish whatever you're trying to do, it gets lost on me. I'm like,
Tell you what, another PS Plus game that I'm actually really enjoying.
which one do you go for? Because I've played 3. Obviously, I don't know 2. There's
Here we
2.
go.
One I love.
Here we go.
One I do not understand in the slightest.
Right.
Pick one, we'll see where we end up.
I was going to say, I've only played about half an hour, 40 minutes,
Yep.
but I've really enjoyed Counter Spy.
Oh, I haven't played that one yet.
Oh,
Okay, that's
so
good.
good.
So
that's
good.
good. That's one I'm doing next week.
It's so good.
No, really enjoying it.
Why
yeah.
so good?
It's this weird sort of hybrid of 2D side-scrolling and then 3D shooting, which is quite weird. But no, I really like the style, the tone, and it reminds me of No One Lives Forever, which automatically gives it a free pass because that's one of the best games ever made.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, really enjoying it. There's not much to it, I don't think.
But it's really good because the animations of the enemies that you face are really fun as well. Like when you're walking around and then, like you say, the 3D
it's a bit goofy, a bit silly.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a sort of silly Austin Powers type.
Oh, really?
thing.
Okay, I'm excited about it now. I thought it looked interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
enjoying it.
it's
Nice
really
little
good.
freebie.
Well, what's the other one you've played?
I don't think I played any of this.
I think you played 2. Did I make that up? No, I made that
Ollie
up.
Ollie,
Okay.
yeah.
Ollie Ollie and the...
Counter
Oh,
Spy.
okay. Because I started playing Abe's Odyssey, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, I've played
Never
that.
tasty.
Well, Valiant Hearts and Abe's Odyssey I've played a
Well,
while
Valiant
ago.
Hearts I love.
No, sorry. I bought a while ago.
Yeah,
but I
you
haven't-
bought. That's
I think
right.
Valiant Hearts is a great... I've done the first chapter of Valiant Hearts, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
think it's a brilliant, brilliant game.
Burns liked it, didn't
Yeah,
he?
I'm
Yeah.
on the third at the minute. I'm nearly at the end of the third because I played it again over the weekend.
I agree with you. We were chatting about it earlier, Brett, and I agree with you. It has no idea what it wants to be. It wants to be one part sad war story and one part exceptionally video gamey game. But the thing with me is I don't find the emotional bit sad, so I just take them as they're supposed to be a little bit of fun more than anything. But I understand. But I think the game itself and the story it tells and the art style of it, I think it's
It is
wonderful.
beautiful,
I think it's
yeah.
really, really nice. I really like it.
There is that thing, like you say, it tells some tries to tell these heart wrenching moments, right? So there's bits with because there's the classic thing of like dog in a game. You think, oh, that's going to put on heartstrings. Then there's the two main
Friendship.
characters.
They love each other.
They have these they're all family and all that. And you think, oh, it's really telling the story real. You just progress through it. And then there's a big boss fight at the end of every chapter that's so gamey. You think, well, it's sort of countering its own thing there, where it's like, well, you need to do one or the other, and you can't really get fully into either.
No, I do like how it kind of tells you real stories from World War One as well. I really get off on that.
Oh yeah,
I think
the
it-
trinkets that you pick up.
Oh, I love it.
I get off on it. I take my pants off.
Unleash the meal dog.
Yeah. No, but I do. I love all that stuff because
Yeah.
it then it gives it a sense of not realism, obviously, but it
It's all-
grounds it in
yeah, it
reality.
beds it, yeah.
So you know, even though what they've obviously made it visually appealing, you know what they're doing is somewhat, obviously not, but somewhat realistic. And I think I like the dog. Like the way you can control the dog, I think that's quite good. I like their friendship. I like how stupid the American guy is. Really, he's all like, "Yeah, kick your ass." But I just think it's a lot of fun. It's just very, very light-hearted fun.
Yeah, it does kid it as well.
Not light-hearted.
Where you've got people from the different countries, right, where they speak gibberish, but they speak in a gibberish accent as well. The accent of where they're from, which makes it again light-hearted, even though you know the atrocities that are going on all around. But it makes it a cartoon. As well.
I think it's really good. I think it's a really nice game. What I don't think is a nice game is Abe's Odyssey. I think that is a pile of shit.
Do you?
Why is everyone raving about
that? It
feels
so old.
It just doesn't.
I haven't started it yet.
It's just horrible. It's just a horrible.
I didn't like
convoluted,
it.
overly messy control scheme bollocks game. Like I don't understand. I played it for about 90 minutes. Never again. Never again will I go back to that.
It's just the HD of the first one, right?
As far as I know,
well, they've done quite a lot to improve it, or to modernise it, but it feels very much like...
It's just changed the whole single screen thing.
Yeah.
But it's deliberately, like, the amount of stuff that is in there that is just not fun to do. Like, sneak past this guy, so one screen will take you twice as long as it had to, just because you're sneaking. Like, there's no skill put in... It's just,
See, I think when it came out, I played it for about as long as you have, about 90 minutes. I think I like the idea of it more than I did actually playing it.
I agree. It looks really nice.
I loved Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus and all those games, but it does, like what Tom said, it does feel a bit old now, and it feels like it was a game of its time, and I'm not sure if it fits in.
I can't believe I've never played one before, so my only sort of experiences with it is through others or reading it.
Did you ever play Stranger?
No.
Or Another World?
Stranger's good.
Stranger,
none of them
still holds up well.
This is the love that they've got for it. So I kind of put them in one big basket. Like maybe I'm sure there's one that's better than the other ones, but to me it's like this franchise is wonderful. And I played that. It's like, what are people talking about?
You'd like Stranger, I think. The whole Wild West type.
Why don't they make that one then? Why don't they?
They
that one?
They re-released it on Vita.
Have they?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't. But they didn't remaster it as such.
No, they re-released it.
It's not on PS4, is it?
No,
it's on
Vita
PS3
and Vita.
Vita, yeah.
Right, yeah. I'll play Counter Sky, but so far the game of the PS Plus this month is definitely... Is it Valiant Hearts?
Valiant
That's what it's called?
The Great War.
That is definitely... All right. Nice. Well, that's what we've been playing.
I play Wolfenstein as well.
We're getting to Wolfenstein.
Also, Rayman Legends is really good if you're on Xbox One. Download it immediately.
Amazing.
That's the game of the month, isn't it?
We're getting to Wolfenstein right now. So moving on to the questions. And obviously, I can't remember, did we talk about the new Wolfenstein game last week, or was that in between podcasts?
I don't think we did.
Right, anyway, Eric the Aussie asked, will Miller give Wolfenstein the Old Blood a 6 just to piss off everyone like he pissed off everyone last time, right? Obviously not, because that's the score I believe. But I wanted to use that because I want to
Always believe.
Always believe. Which try, I gave it a 6, I thought it was ever 6. If you got pissed off by that, that's your problem, not mine. Wow, that's a joke.
Miller, you're inflaming the internet right now. It's on fire.
I'm only winding them up. I don't mean it. But obviously, they announced the Old Blood, which is a standalone, downloadable, I guess.
Well,
for
retail as well, bizarrely.
But it doesn't. In other words, you don't have to have the new Blood to.
It's like Infamous First Light is to Second Son.
Yes, and that is coming out now. I watched some of the stuff they put up for it. Doesn't really look like they're doing much different. So, Tom, you seemed... Where are you at in your Wolfenstein journey?
It's taken me forever, but I am the U-boat bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know where you are.
Yeah? I think it's the last third of the game.
Yeah, you're
probably. I still like it. Like, I don't think it's... Like I said before, it's not like Game of the Year material, but it's a good, fun shooter. Like, it's one of the only shooters I've played recently that feels like an actual... shooter. Like I said before, Advanced Warfare, which is what I think I played directly before this, was more like a ride. You didn't feel like the same level of like shooting or going around level shooting things. It felt more like jumping from bit to bit and just doing whatever it told you to do. It didn't feel much like you were doing much.
What would you score it?
What, Wolfenstein?
Yeah, if I made you score it right now.
I reckon it would be edging up towards an 8.
Okay.
But that was so aggressive. If I made you score it right now, which means I'm making you score it right now.
Paxman, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm tapping my chair there because I wanted to butt in.
Sorry, I didn't know this.
One thing I was going to say, because I've only seen the trailer that they put out originally, I didn't watch any of the gameplay.
I watched about 15 minutes of the game. It looks very similar to me.
And I liked the bit at the end of the trailer where he's there hacking the shotgun, sawing off the shotgun, and then suddenly an enemy comes down, he saws it off really faster, gets faster. And I like that sense of personality in a first-person game, those silly little animations. And I know like a lot of people creating first-person shooters and first-person games in general, I feel like their intention is to make the player feel like they are the character rather than you playing out the role of that character. And I prefer that when you know that you're someone else.
Yep.
Definitely.
And I wish that more games did that. And there was something I'm about to spoil a game, and it's called Numa Breath of Life, which I also played over the weekend.
Spoil the end of it, Dave.
I am going to spoil the end of it.
So spoiler warning.
This.
Why are we spoiler warning now? Do you not want to know?
No.
It isn't very...
I think Burns may have already told me, but...
It isn't very long. It's only about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
If you do want to play that game...
Turn down now.
Turn down now. Will probably be a few minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a puzzle game. It's a first-person puzzle game. And the whole way through, the person that you're controlling is making out that he's a god. He thinks he's a god, and he can, he's created the world, and why is he here, and what's he doing? The last 5 minutes of that game, it's like a Spec Ops The Line scenario where suddenly it just becomes really interesting. The whole of that game is not very interesting really at all, except the last 5 minutes, where it does this thing where the character that you're controlling becomes aware that he's being controlled by the player, and that he's not this powerful god, and that he's not been doing these actions himself, and it's actually been you that's been telling him to do all this stuff. And it wrestles control of the camera and stuff away from you.
I love it.
So
it's brilliant.
So you're looking at things, and you're trying to... At the end of the game, you've got to move these boulders by looking at them. And so you're looking at these boulders, and they're moving up, they're gradually rising up. And he's like, no, we're not doing this. And it turns the camera away from the boulders. And you're there like, no, we've got to look at these boulders. And it's things like that where you're like, this is actually really
brilliant.
interesting.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it should have done this a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Rather than the last 2 minutes where, okay, that's quite a powerful ending. But really, you could have explored that a lot more than you have.
But wouldn't that have taken away the twist of the end, though?
It would, but they quite easily could have done something for another half an hour on there where...
I'll make it extend the end, extend the twist, right?
Yeah, and because it just feels like that happens and suddenly there's that realisation and it's all over.
Oh, I see, right.
It's a really clever game in that sense.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Exactly.
I enjoy stuff that
and
breaks
it's games
the fourth
like that,
wall.
and what I was going back to, what I was saying earlier about that feeling of playing out character and things like that. I wish more games did that, especially first-person games. I don't want to be myself in a game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's one of the reasons I like The Last of Us so much, because I loved how they were there. They were characters from start to finish.
That's what's been the argument with third person. You can see the character, so you can visualize what they're like. You can, I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. Like you can pretend to be that character more easily than you can in a first person game.
But that's why, I mean, Last of Us spoilers as well, so you have to turn back down if you don't want either of these ones to spoil for you. But it's true, when you get to that point in the end where Ellie's in the hospital room, I was convinced, because of what I've been conditioned to think by games, that you have a choice. Do you leave her? You don't. But you don't have a choice. Joel is the character. That's who you're in control of. Yeah. And his actions would be this. So you have to do this. And I like that. I didn't want to do that. Yeah. But that's who he is as a person. I'm in control of him. And you're right, a lot of games do that.
But a lot of people had a problem with that. Like the ending of The Last of Us, they were like, well, I didn't want to do that. But it's like, but that's what makes it so good.
Exactly. That's why it makes it one of the best games ever made, because that is their story.
Like suddenly, no, that's that character. Whether you've thought of him as that before that.
You were wrong. Exactly. Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward to the Old Blood, simply because I thought Wolfenstein had potential. Like, even playing it, I stand by, I don't think a 6 is a bad score, but we're not going to get into that. We've done it. Again.
Every week.
Well, I know. But I thought we'd talk about it because the Old Blood was announced and stuff. But I think they could do a lot with it. And I also think, and I assume because it's a digital download or a standalone or whatever, it'll be a lot shorter. Because I think Wolfenstein is around 12 to 15 hours.
It feels quite long, Wolfenstein.
It is, I think it's too long. I think if you had the same experience, but you really sort of focused it and sort of centered around the central point for 6 hours or so, I think it could actually be quite good. So I'm definitely going to review it, just for the record. I might put my name in the hat for that now. But I'll give it whatever I think it's worth. I wouldn't give it.
Because you've been saying for a while, I bet there'll be a new Wolfenstein at E3.
Hey,
and I've been like, it's too soon.
Almost like I knew, isn't it? It's weird, that. Who knows?
But it does feel like, how much of this was DLC that they've scrapped? Well, not scrapped, but they've, used for...
Well, it is DLC, really, isn't it? It's two missions for me, isn't it? So, like one's in a castle and one's...
It's only 2 missions. Oh, I missed that.
I think they're quite long.
They're long, I think, yeah. But I think they're selling it as 2 different chapters, whatever it is.
I think it could do what the original, as in this original Wolfenstein, could have done. I really do think. I think a more focused experience could be what that game needs.
I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this as well, this standalone stuff. Like we're seeing it with Forza this month as well, doing a Fast and Furious thing. I don't know how that works, but it's there.
Well,
back to Wolfenstein quickly. I've just got
the Wolfenstein podcast.
The shotgun, when it goes like scatter mode or something, that's amazing.
I said in my review that the really shooting is really satisfying and good. Moving on, One Winged Angel. Talk about more games that have been announced. Thoughts on Rock Band 4? Is it too early for a revival, or are they just filling a gap on current gen consoles? Well, it's not coming to... Well, I guess they mean proper current gen consoles.
I think-
rather than
new
old
gen.
consoles, yeah.
I've said this for a while. Rock Band and Guitar Hero needs to come back as a platform rather than the game.
I was saying this the other day, Dave. Oh, I love
It
you
needs to
sometimes.
be free. And it needs to be like an iTunes platform where you just buy the songs that you want. They
Yeah.
can
Like
make
they did
like
with-
SingStar.
Well, the other
Didn't
thing,
work for SingStar. They did,
But this
they
is
messed
the
it
oth-
up. But
but I think this has the potential to be a wider thing than SingStar.
but the other way they should do it is Netflix it. So you don't spend £50
Yeah.
on the software.
Subscription.
You don't. You use a subscription, and accessing that
The
subscription.
model would work.
But I
wouldn't
mean,
it,
that
guess?
lets you. But the thing is, I don't think, especially, I cannot believe they're saying the instruments won't work.
Are they saying that?
They're saying they're not sure at the moment. It's fucking USB. I'm not going to go into this too much. I said this the other day on a podcast, but it's USB.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's being published by Mad Cats, so Mad Cats are going to want to make some
No,
money off
that's what annoys me. This is why I think the Netflix model makes more sense, because if you have to then shell out for your peripherals, at least you know that £5 a month or whatever gets you the software and then gets you the whole catalogue of songs. There you go. And then when you're done with it, stop putting your £5 in.
Yeah, and you can go back to
Long-term,
it whenever you
yeah.
want.
Because
as
you've
well.
got the peripherals. So your
All
money goes into
controllers
the
are USB,
peripherals.
really, aren't they? They just put proprietary ends on them, essentially.
When have you ever plugged anything in USB and gone, old USB, mate? It's never happened. And it's USB. And that's why I can't stand it. But I do... My only thing I don't like about this, I am repeating myself from the other day, is because Guitar Hero heavily rumoured to be coming back this year as well. I think this probably proves... Obviously, Activision and Harmonix aren't talking to each other anymore. It's not like they've got, let's get back together, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So I worry this is all the kind of the result of some marketing meeting where they went, well, we've chatted to some people, some focus groups. We think 5 years is long enough, rather than we've got a great idea to bring Rock Band back.
Right, yeah.
Let's
it's
do
just
it.
going to be the same as it always was, isn't it? Like,
I don't need that.
what are they
anymore,
going to do? If they've done the Netflix thing, that is a good idea.
That's what I mean. Then you're taking advantage of new technology and saying, hey, look, our model works really well in this. But just the whole 50, well, more, 150 quid for your band in a box and then you're buying... I don't see why we
Not
need
sure
that.
Mad Cats would do that. I think I'd expect Activision to do that over Mad
Maybe
Cats.
they will. That surely long term they're going to make.
Then it
more
becomes
money.
really interesting if they do it like that. Then a subscription service for that is far
That's
more
the thing.
interesting.
At the
than-
moment, like Guitar Hero, Rock Band, which one will you choose? Well, there's probably not going to be a lot in it if they choose the standard model, you know, that we're used to, that disc release. And all
It
that.
doesn't interest me.
But
That's the
if
problem.
one is pay as you download and the other is subscription or whatever, then that makes things interesting again.
Maybe
Yes,
Guitar,
I agree.
Guitar Hero is going to have an open world to explore.
What?
Yeah, it's going to be like big open world
Is
adventure
this
game.
that browser game that was revealed the other day?
Right.
Cancelled Guitar Hero browser game, whatever it was.
Really?
Really? Wow, they really did try and run it into the ground, didn't they?
Yeah.
And finally, Triceratops. It's good, isn't it? It's
I
a
love
good
that name.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
Says, do you think devs turn a blind eye to quality when releasing their new game on previous gen consoles? Dragon Age and Shadow of Mordor, for
I
example.
think there's a temptation to, definitely.
I just think they put less money into it because they want to put 95% of their budget
They're often
into
handled by other people as well, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not the same
Shadow
team.
of Mordor was the Naughty Bear devs.
And they'll have like
Last gen.
Was it really?
Yeah.
They probably, yeah.
They should have just snuck it in. Not looking, put him in it.
But I'm not surprised.
Just in the corner somewhere.
Warner in particular, that game can't have sold anything on last gen. They
It
can,
was delayed as well, wasn't it? So
yeah.
people had less of a reason.
But-
Like,
They can
It's
die
all-
in like a Mad Max.
They
like-
suit their own.
That's true.
They suit their own wording though. Is what they do. Is they, like you say, they make it nowhere near as good. They give it to another developer. It doesn't sell. Then their next game go, yeah, well, look, the last game we made didn't sell on old gen. Yeah, it's because you made a shit game.
Yeah.
And therefore they say, well, the new game we're making won't come to old gen consoles, and that's how they get it to put all their budget in the new gen.
I think we're getting to the end of that now.
it's time.
I
It's
think,
been,
yeah.
what do we say? Is it 10 years for Xbox 360 this?
Yeah.
In November, yeah.
It's like,
when
that's long enough. So, like,
You got a hardline on last gen this month, haven't you? I imagine that'll be the last Battlefield game for last gen.
Was Advanced Warfare was just...
no,
No, it was everything.
that's
Was it
cross-gen.
everything?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Okay, is this the year that we only get Call of Duty then on
probably not.
new gen platforms? Yeah, it's probably. I
Doubt
don't
it.
think it will be. will
Those
it?
sort of games like FIFA, Call of
FIFA,
Duty,
yeah.
they're too easy.
But it'll be
to
interesting
go
if
everywhere.
Battlefront is next gen,
Yeah.
or current gen only,
Yeah.
and Call of Duty
I mean,
is
if you
not.
think about
because
it, how it's
does
going
that
must be
mean?
affecting development. Like you've got to make a game that somehow will also work
Well, that's the thing.
mostly across hardware.
Is
It's 10 years old.
Is hardline the resolution that it is? I don't know, resolution not everything, but is it the resolution that it is on current gen because the last gen versions exist, or because Battlefront is being made on Frostbite, right?
Mhm.
Will Battlefront be 720p on Xbox as well? Will it make a difference? I don't know. Can they up the tech for if they don't do last gen? I don't know. I don't know how it works. Will it be Frostbite 4? Just drop in last gen.
Who knows? We'll find out. I hope the Battlefront is new gen only. I really do because
They've
I want.
only announced it for new gen.
Yeah, but who knows?
No, I know. But I imagine the temptation's there for them as well. Like, do we really want to miss out on $360? I don't know, but
I want to start seeing these. Let's say the Order had come out on PS3. Would it have looked as good? Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll never know.
Tom's right about this year feeling like this Christmas, this holiday, feeling like the year where all those games need to make that just commit to new gen.
I like what Warner's done, like having the sort of ambition just to drop last gen.
Because Batman's
new gen only.
Yeah.
Mad Max new gen only. Dying Light.
Mad Max though.
They've got the Lego games and all that coming to last gen as well, but that's kind of expected.
Yeah, more family oriented games. Yeah. But there we go. That's it. We've come to the end of another Video Gamer UK podcast.
Have we really?
Yeah, recorded on a Monday.
I've enjoyed this.
Have you really?
Yeah, I'm sad that it has to end.
Well, there is an extra bit for. I was just gibberish what I said then. There is an extra bit for Patreon members.
Gibberish, Miller. I'll be honest.
Well, that's true. Which we will segue to into a minute. But we've done it.
We were meant to announce a competition. But
we can announce a competition right now if you want.
We've got to
just make it up.
We've got to think of something for people to do to win.
We've just done it.
Game.
The competition this month is for you to come up with your own competition ideas.
There you go.
There you go. I'm serious. You got come up with a game show. There you go. Come up with some kind of game show that relates to games.
I'm lost.
What do you mean you're lost?
So, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
Who wants to win a game from Shop 2 up to the value of £50?
That could be your competition. It's probably not going to win because it already exists. But come up with your ideal gaming competition.
But do they need to just come up with the idea of the competition or the entry into that competition?
It can be lots of different things.
I'd like to see the entry into that competition because I think that would make me laugh.
Okay, it can be the entry into the competition. It can be the name. Puns are always welcome.
Oh, I like a good pun.
Exactly. Or it can be an entire format, much like, so you're going to do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You could say Chris Tarrant sits in a chair and asks stupid people questions, and they try and win £1 million.
It sounds quite ambitious. They've got to put their work in this month.
Well, they could just do a bad Photoshop. That'd be it.
Yeah. Look, this is an idea that's literally just popped up now from a conversation.
It's no good putting holes in it.
I will make a thread when I get back to my seat. And that's done. It's the Video Gamer UK podcast competition. And of course, you can win a game of up to £50 from shop2.net.
From where?
Shop2.net. I've got to start doing adverts.
They sell games and stuff.
Apparently. Who goes there?
I bought a game from them the other day.
What'd you buy?
Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z.
Dave.
Really?
Yep.
God.
It was £1.85.
Do you think it's an alright game?
I haven't played it yet.
I think it's okay.
No, you don't, Miller. Shut up. Are you joking?
It's really bad, but it's kind of fun.
Is it really?
Don't tell anyone. It's really sexy.
Better than Wolfenstein.
Well, that's the bad bit of it. But the gameplay's quite good.
And the good bit.
No, it's not. All right, that's it. Remember, go to VideoGamer.com, go to YouTube, VideoGamerTV,
That was disgusting.
at VideoGamer.com on Twitter, and of course on Facebook as well. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.